Today in this video we're going to be having a little bit of a rant, and I hate to be ranting so soon into a new season. Now before I get into what I don't like, I just want to say I'm actually quite impressed with Season of Dawn, even as a PvP guy. Admittedly, on the PvP front itself there's not a whole lot new to do. However, the thing that I really do like so far about Season of Dawn is we're only a day into it, yet there seems to be a ton of loot flying around. Different weapons with different roles, certain weapons coming back, old fashions come back, one or two other year one guns back. The sundial guns all look really cool. So there's loads of good loot. And for me, if there's a loot to chase that I like, there's content for me to make in PvP, there's things for me to do in PvP. Like the loop for me is go play PvE, get some nice weapons, take them into PvP and have some fun. So I'm definitely going to be enjoying that, as well as all of the subclass changes that have been made. Obviously I don't really main any of the classes that have received these real cool changes, but I still want to try them out. Obviously Middle Tree Titan, Hammer Titan, I want to try that out. Top Tree Dawnblade jumping around everywhere, I want to try that out. But the point of this video is, well, look at this weapon that I've just picked up. It's the Komodo. This is Season 9's Crucible Ritual weapon, and I'm really not happy with it. Now you can see I've got it in my hands right now. I'm using it on my homie Dimitri's account. Much love to him for letting me use his account. And look at that, it's pretty nice linear fusion, right? It's doing the job, it hits hard, and it's fun and it's cool. But here's the real killer for this gun. It's a heavy weapon, man. Crucible Ritual weapon should not be a heavy. Why? You never really use heavy in PvP, unless you're one of those players who just stands by the heavy brick all game. I am not one of those players. I would rather not use heavy. I'd rather get kills with other guns. And if I am going to use heavy, I would use something funny, interesting, like an exotic heavy weapon. Think Tractor Cannon, Black Talon, so on, you know, Deathbringer. Those are the kind of things I would put in my heavy slot if I wanted to use heavy. Essentially, the Komodo is just a reskinned Crooked Fang with a couple of different perk options, none of which are particularly interesting. In fact, box breathing and no distractions would be like, that's not ever going to work in PvP. You can't just sit there in your sight with a weapon that then needs to be charged against things like snipers, for example. You just get destroyed. Maybe it's a DPS weapon in PvE, another Crucible weapon that's actually better in PvE. Maybe that's what Bungie were going for with this gun. I'm not quite sure. If you guys are not familiar with the role on the Komodo, it basically comes with accelerated coils and polygonal rifling, and then you have no distractions, moving target, and Eye of the Storm and box breathing. So basically those are your options. Obviously, like I already mentioned, the box breathing, no distractions setup could be like a PvE thing. And then for me, what I was running was, of course, Eye of the Storm and moving target. That's the best combination to go for. But there's nothing particularly special about this. You can get these perks on the Crooked Fang or other fusion rifles. Even the design of the Komodo, it's probably the biggest reskin out of all of them. There's no real differences to it that make it look special. Even when you look just back to last season, Randy's throwing knife, it had its own look. Yes, it was a reskin of the Braytech scout rifle, I believe, but it still looked kind of distinctive. This literally looks like you've just got a Crooked Fang and put a Crucible shader on it. In terms of performance, I don't know if this is way better than other linear fusions. There's no real way to tell. For me, what would have been interesting is if this was made as an energy weapon or a kinetic weapon like Arbalist, and then you'd be like, okay, it's got some flavor to it. It adds some variation to loadouts in Crucible, but the way it currently stands, it's a heavy weapon. So unless you're going to be Heavy Ammo Henry, who just stands by the heavy ammo brick all game, you're not even going to get much use out of it. You've grinded for this gun, then you go to Crucible, and your amount of time spent with the weapon is going to be limited. I feel like most players, like me, I don't go for heavy. Like, I've already said this, but I don't really go for heavy. In this match you're seeing, I'm running double primary and then obviously the fusion. And, we still had a good game. We played relatively well considering it's a close range map. We're using double primary. We just had some nice shutdowns there as well just a second ago. And it's just, this thing doesn't add any flavor to your loadout. It's just another heavy linear fusion. And with there being literally nothing else seemingly to go for PvP in Season 9, it's disappointing. If the weapon, that they offered, Ritual weapon, was kind of cool or kind of special in some kind of way, not necessarily overpowered, but just unique somehow, then, no complaints. But, and I hate to be, making a rant video, a day into the season, but I'm a PvP player, and the Ritual weapon for PvP is extremely disappointing. Hands down, the most disappointing Crucible pinnacle / ritual weapon we've ever had. I know people will say, well, they're not pinnacles anymore, but again, I will literally point to last season. Randy's throwing knife it has something about it. It's kind of cool, kind of different. It's a unique archetype, all of that sort of thing. This is just a heavy weapon. So what the fuck? But anyway, listen, I had to get this off my chest. People were expecting me to do a video on this weapon, and if you were expecting me to be hyping this gun up or giving you like a crazy insane montage of me getting kills with the Komodo, that's simply not what this video is, because I'm showing you the reality. It's a heavy weapon. If you want a montage of a heavy weapon, well, I'm gonna have to play a lot of games and you have to get very lucky, especially as a solo player, to secure heavy throughout the entire duration of a game. Obviously in this match you're seeing on Pacifica, I did really play for heavy as much as possible, but like you can see there, when I got shotted out of my heavy, that's it. That's my experience with the ritual weapon. Am I personally going to grind for this? Probably not, no. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention. 3 seasons in a row now, the pinnacle / ritual crucible weapon has been a long range weapon. We had a sniper, we had a scout rifle, and now we have a linear fusion. Now, while I have nothing against any of those types of weapons, what has been the case in the early days of every season in Crucible is everybody sitting in the back of the map. First they were sitting in the back for Revoker, then they're sitting in the back for Randy's, now they're sitting in the back for Komodo. And one thing I've got to say, I really underestimate how many Crucible players are collectors, because everybody, like I'm talking on PC anyway, I don't know about on console, I'm assuming it's the same, it probably is the same. Everybody is sitting in the back with Arbalest. Everybody, like you'd think Komodo's the fucking greatest thing since sliced bread, with the amount of people who are trying to grind out for Komodo immediately day one. Maybe they're just Crucible enthusiasts and this is the only thing they've got to go for, so they're going for it. Again, I would understand that completely. Just for me personally, I just don't see the appeal. It's a heavy weapon. It could be anything. If it's a heavy weapon, my interest is immediately diminished. Maybe if it was like a really cool sword or something that was actually a good sword and not a terrible sword like most swords in this game, maybe that would be interesting, but this, I'm afraid, just simply was not it, in my opinion. Anyway guys, I'm gonna let this match play out. Obviously it was a decent game. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the gameplay. Hope you guys enjoyed hearing my thoughts on this season's Crucible Ritual Weapon. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm really happy with a lot of things in Season of Dawn, but the Crucible Ritual Weapon is not one of those things. And with me being a Crucible guy, you guys wanted my opinion on it, and here it is. Anyway guys, I will see you in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to hit that like button and maybe subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Don't be lost. Oh no! Your enemy can't kill if they're dead. Shut the enemy down. Don't see lost. A fire team that fights together stays together.